Thank you. Welcome to Geek News Live. Today we are reviewing American Psycho, starring Christian Bale, Reese Witherspoon, William Dafoe. Um, Philip's going to give us a quick synopsis of what the movie was about, and then we'll get into Mike and Dan can start off our review. Philip?
All right, it's a self-narrated tale about Patrick Mason, who's a handsome, well-educated, intelligent guy who happens to work on Wall Street, but they leave it rather ambiguous as to what he actually does. He just seems to be extremely wealthy. Um, and what ends up basically happening in the movie is you watch the dissension of this yuppie culture, basically, of trying to look beautiful and powerful into what seems to be madness as you try to understand what happens throughout the film as his world starts to unfurl.
Awesome. Mr. Bateman, Mike, what do you got for us as far as American Psycho goes?
Well, I really enjoyed kind of the dark comedic twists it took. Like, my favorite scene out of all of it is when he tries to feed the cat to the ATM because the ATM's telling him to, and so forth. Just the bizarre stuff that his mind is coming up with, the shootout with the cops towards the end. And I love the fact that it's kind of, to me at least, it's kind of clear that it's all in his head towards the end, but maybe not so much. There is that ambiguity there, and I kind of dig that. I gotta blink now. Ow. But the soundtrack's really good too.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy it. And yeah, what Philip was talking about, kind of this like yuppie twist on everything, how all these brokers or dudes are just straight up assholes for the most part, and you just, I love the character of him and that he's just trying to blend in ultimately. Like, he's just picking up tricks on how to be a human being by interacting with these guys. And Christian Bale doing a pretty good Ace Ventura impression for most of the movie is kind of hilarious.
Dan?
I don't like this movie at all.
Oh.
It's just, first of all, you end up watching a guy you don't like the entire movie. Talk with other people you don't like. I do like certain things. The soundtrack is good, and I do like the chainsaw down the stairwell. That was a cool piece. But the ending negates the entire movie. So that basically, are you supposed to care for this guy who you don't like because he's having a mental breakdown? Or did I just waste my time? It's just, you watch him in like conversations, and some of them are funny. Like, I forget when he's in the bar and he tells the one chick he's into murders and something
And
or other, and
something, yeah.
yeah, and she takes it into a totally,
It's mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah.
yeah, but she takes him to mean, mergers and acquisitions. That's funny, but
Mm-hmm.
I can't connect with any of these characters. They're honestly all a bunch of dickbags.
I totally get.
Can't. Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing too. Is like I don't sympathize with him at all. I don't, it's not like, oh yeah, Bateman's speaking to me, definitely, or whatever. But no, there's just hilarious stuff that's happening to really unlikable people that I really enjoy. Like the whole scene with showing off the business cards and how he just gets set off by that. Like, I just find that hilarious. It's like, but at no point, no, yeah, I don't care about anybody really. It's just.
Yeah. The whole thing about the business card theme going through was kind of cool, but all in all, I kind of like the sequel better.
The Mila Kunis one?
Yes, with William Shatner.
Well, Dan, if you like the sequel, then technically the whole movie happened as it happened because he ends up killing her mom.
Well, that's what I wanted. If you're gonna make a movie and entitle it American Psycho, I kind of want like a more cut and dry Psycho movie. Not is he spiraling into madness or not? Who cares? I don't know.
Philip.
So I actually I love the movie, but I I agree that you can't relate to any of the characters at all. Um, but what I love the soundtrack, and that's probably the initial reason why I loved it, is because I was in love with the 80s music probably 15, 20 years ago. And so that's why I first watched it, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I mean, it's grotesque and violent, but that's kind of cool. I love the monologues of, as he's talking about Huey Lewis in the news, right before he's about to axe somebody in the back of the head. I mean, to me, I just love the grotesqueness of it. It's so, and I think that's part of the reason why it became this pop culture thing, is because it's so absurd. As he talks about this referential material of how this music relates to things. I mean, he does that throughout the movie. He constantly relates to 80s pop culture as he's about to do something insane or grotesque. So, like when he has the two hookers, he starts talking about like Phil Collins and the debate of whether Phil Collins by himself being overly commercial or Phil Collins with Genesis post Peter Gabriel, and the whole philosophical debate on all of that, which I just love the insanity of it all. And what's interesting is this is probably the first time I actually watched it where I tried to figure out the ending, because generally I just take it as what it is, because by the time you get to the last 20 minutes, that's where you kind of get the concept of this probably isn't real, because the cops aren't shooting at him, they're not hitting him. He shoots the
Blows
cop
up
car and
cars.
it blows up instantly. But before that, and that's where my debate is. That's why, like Dan, like I don't know whether or not he didn't kill anybody, or if he did kill some people. To me, that's the blurry line of I can't tell where it is. But again, it's a self-narrated tale, so you don't know, and that's intentional in that regard, because he's the one telling you the story. And that's the problem that you have, even though you see the pills on the table. So that's why I think it is his descent into madness, is because before he kills anybody in the entire movie, you watch him pop a pill, and then people start dying shortly afterwards.
Did anyone ever read the novel by Bret Easton Ellis?
I have not, but I'm interested in it.
I mean, it holds very true to that he is a very you can't really, like Philip said, you can't rely on his narration. Like, yeah, some stuff might be clearly made up and so forth, but the novel has a very stream of consciousness thought where he's just jumping around in his mind from different things, and only once does the book ever take like an outsider's perspective on him. It's always from his point of view. So yeah, he's very unreliable in terms of like, is this story legit, and so forth. And then I mean, that's the trippiness of it that I kind of enjoy, I guess.
Oh, and then one of my favorite things in this, I don't know how many people caught this, but when he's getting interviewed by William Dafoe, his excuse to leave is he has to go eat lunch with Cliff Huxtable.
Yeah, I caught that. And every time he tries to get out of most situations, he says he's going to return videotapes, which I got to chuckle at every time because nobody can say that anymore. Like, I used to love to do that. But anyway, yeah, I like the movie too. I thought it was a completely different ending, and then when I watched it last night, I'm with you guys. I think, I don't know if the whole thing is in his mind, but definitely a good portion of it is just him psycho, I guess, in his head, just in his own head. But yeah, I mean, before I thought, the ending was somebody had swept it under the rug because of the awkward encounter with the lawyer. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And, well, the thing is, Dan, I totally get why some people wouldn't like this movie at all, because that's the thing, was when I first saw it, I very much was just like, I was expecting, yeah, something a little bit more along the lines of a horror slasher type movie, and it was kind of a letdown, honestly, yeah, when I first saw it, being like, okay, so he's just crazy. That's not as interesting. But then as I saw it again and again, there was like I honestly just love it for little moments. It's like, as a story, a whole, it's kind of confusion and a mess, but I think it's intended to be. But yeah, just those little quirks and moments that either he provides or that Willem Dafoe provides whenever he's being interviewed. Even Jared Leto. Like, I'm sure Max will love this because Jared Leto gets an axe to the face.
Yes.
No, I get why you would like it. I just I don't know. I mean, to me, it's a chore to sit through. So
That's the thing too. It can feel pretty long at times. Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about movie. It's cinema. It's all subjective. Two people can have a completely different experience. Because that's last night when I was sitting on next to the couch with Liz. I'm like, holy shit, this movie's over already. And then like you guys said, it could be a chore to sit through. So it's just crazy how movies work that way. Yeah, next week we are reviewing the Dark Knight trilogy as a whole, which should be pretty awesome. Um, None of us know where Max is currently, so
He's
Max
returning
sent
some
his.
videotapes.
Yes, he's returning some videotapes. I know, I'm pretty sure Max likes this movie. This would have been one of the ones he would have given a good review to. Um,
Of course.
Next week we get to go into the Batmans, and he likes 60% of them, so that'll be fun. Anybody have anything else to add?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Like, comment, and share this videotape. Also, go to YouTube, type in Weird Al, Huey Lewis, American Psycho. It's a good laugh. It has Huey Lewis in the Patrick Bateman role and Weird Al as the guy that he kills. It's really funny. But yep, my name is Jay, joined by Philip, Dan, and Mike. Have a great day.